iZombie Season 3, Episode 3, Eat, Pray, Live. Really enjoyed this episode. It was definitely, I think this was actually the second episode ever where they did basically all the investigative work had zero visions to it. So that was definitely interesting. They always, find a way to kind of change things up a little. And they certainly had a good twist where it was the not so homeless guy all along. That was like some Scooby-Doo stuff to me. It was like, basically he had a mask, but he was just, the long hair and everything. And I was just like, wow, I certainly didn't see that one coming. So I thought that was a pretty good twist. I wasn't really sure where it was headed when they went to the second guy. I was like, those are his shoes. I was like, what if somebody drugged him or something? Like, considering the show, I was like, it's not too out there to think that maybe he was so drugged up or, someone drugged him that he didn't even realize that he'd done it or something. I was like, where the heck is this headed? So it's like someone broke into his house. And I'm like, are they going to add another person in? It's kind of, towards the end of the episode. Then it's like, no, it's actually the guy who was homeless, who wasn't actually so homeless. And I was like, wow, that's pretty freaking crazy. So I like the way that they did that. That was a nice little twist at the end. Of course, the brains were just, live on like namaste, theories, or not theories, but all these phrases and stuff, relaxation quotes and everything. So it was just, that was pretty funny. But I think the real crux of this episode was actually outside of the main case. It was really like all the other characters dealing with their emotional stuff. We have stuff with Blaine where he's going through seeing his father again, which is not that big of a deal to him because of course he has no memories. I still feel like at this point I believe it's true. Who knows? It's really hard to say. This could be like, I want to just think, yeah, he totally lost his memories. This isn't like the epic long game, but it's like, it's him. It's so hard to tell. But we'll find out. We'll see what happens when his dad and Don E start doing their business and they actually do start taking his clients. We'll see what happens if the memory starts, whipping out. He's like, hey, and we'll see what happens. But as of now, I'm like, I think I'm officially on board where he does not have his memories. But it is so hard to do. But it was a really good episode for the emotional elements of the characters, especially with Ravi and Peyton by the end. Especially the scene where everyone was together and Ravi finally just lost it. Because in this episode, past couple episodes, it was like him freaking out about Peyton and Blaine having been together and, just where their relationship is, where how it's so odd and strained between them, where all he can think of is the two of them together, which he hates. But of course, he still has feelings for Peyton. And it was crazy because going through it, the past couple episodes, it was like, okay, he hasn't mustered up the courage to go talk to her. And when he finally does in this episode, I was like, whoa, he really didn't have anything. Like, he finally went to talk to her, and he really didn't have that much to say. Like, he didn't really know what to say, like, how to put it into words. So I was like, wow, he really didn't have anything, and it really surprised me. Now, I was kind of on Peyton's side a little bit, how she was like, did you really come to apologize, or did you come to hear me apologize to you? And I was like, I'm kind of on her side, because he's not really helping himself. He's just going and saying what we already knew, which was he didn't like the fact that she ended up with Blaine at one point. And I was just like, man, he had nothing. And it was just like, it's tearing him apart. So I was like, where the heck is this headed now? Because he finally, built up that courage and still had nothing. So it goes through and they get to the point where, of course, Major ends up having these, coughing fits, which he has towards the end. And the whole thing is that he's going to end up having to take this second cure because he is getting to that point of him dying. So he has to worry about the memory loss, and it's like, well, we do have one person we could test it on, and that's of course Blaine. And Ravi's scene there, I really love. That was probably my favorite scene in the whole episode because he was freaking out. And he was making some amazing points, and he was just upset. And it's like, any decent human being, even with Blaine having altered memories or no memories, I guess, would know like you kind of owe him one. And Liv tries to do the thing was like, let's walk a mile on each other. She was like, okay, well, I'm Blaine. I tortured you, I turned you into a zombie, I literally killed you. And it's like, he's just rattling off some amazing points. And it's like, he's frustrated because the one dude who constantly caused them more trouble than anyone else, even more than, until like the last couple episodes in the last season, even more than the dude that owned Max Rager, it was Blaine that was causing all these issues for them. And it's like, man, just being in that crazy situation where you just put that on top of the emotional stuff, relationship-wise, like, yeah, that probably would drive you insane a little bit. And he kind of just blurts it out when Peyton asks, like, why are you being a dick? And it's like, don't you get it? Like, I love you. And they kind of just shut it all down, like, oh, he's just, like, he's madly in love at this point. Like, he's really losing it because of love. So that actually gets Blaine to decide that he will take the cure, and we'll see how that works out. If he gets his memories back, we'll see if it's, you know, kind of a blend of the two types of Blaines, where it's like old Blaine, who's, you know, a crappy dude, and a blend of the newer version who's actually decent. So we'll see how that comes together. If, you know, he just reverts back completely. If he ever lost his memories, it's still up in the air about that. But man, it was an interesting moment. I love the way they did it. And, you know, we'll see how it works out with Blaine. And then, of course, that leads to the scene towards the end of the episode where Peyton does actually go to talk with Ravi. And I was kind of hoping, I was like, as they were talking, all I could think was, man, as soon as he mentioned that he was kind of drunk, I was like, I really hope he didn't go to dinner with this woman and they had sex, who, for whatever reason, is, I think she's becoming more important for the season, because she's getting super, super close to the truth. She's like, oh, the woman that was on the plane that had brains in her stomach actually ended up being at the boat party. You worked at the boat party, and she's asking all these questions. She's way too close to the truth, so she's either about to become a zombie or she's about to start killing some zombies, because something bad is going to happen because of her getting too close to the truth. So that's what I feel with her character. And now they've added a new layer to it because Ravi ends up sleeping with her. And of course, Peyton finds out. Kind of a dick move on his part, because of course he did like go in for the kiss and everything. And that's after, you know, after that she finds out that there's someone in the house. But I don't know where it's headed, and it's really hard to say for the two of them. I wish it just worked out for them, because everybody is just kind of like in this weird position at this point. But man, it was just like, wow, I didn't expect the emotional stuff to kind of hit like this towards the end of the episode with their relationship stuff. And at least them, you know, even being friends was kind of a big deal, just how that could potentially work. And now it's kind of falling apart again by the end, because even as Ravi put it, which I thought, I was like, man, he has a great point. And, you know, like I said, still kind of a dick move on him, you know, going for the kiss. But he was like, you know, the way we left things, I never would have thought you'd come here. Which, from that scene, I wouldn't have thought that either. Which, yeah, I mean, I know she was shocked, but I wouldn't have thought that would have mattered as much to her. I was very surprised by that. But, and it was just like, wow, that really, really sucks. And now he's even more upset. And, of course, now she's super upset as well. They're both more upset than they were previously. And they had that one moment where him revealing how he truly felt was like, wow, they might have something from this. And I was like, a little bump up, and then it just came crashing down by the end. So who knows how the relationship is going to play out. But we have Blaine with potentially old memories coming back, or finding out that big reveal that he never lost his memories to begin with. Major did have some cool stuff. He meets a new friend in this episode. He's going through his training montage. Well, not really montage, but he has his segments where he was losing at the little training portion. He gets shot in the front, got shot in the back of the head, and then he went through and he was like diving and junk, and he like dives over a dude and like shoots him as he's, you know, doing the jump and roll. And I was like, okay, he's, you know, going like full video game mode with it, but he made it through, and he's, you know, he's advancing. So I thought that was cool. Just, you know, kind of going a little bit further into that aspect. And he, you know, the guy that he ends up making friends with is basically the only other person that wasn't like a straight up mercenary. So they end up becoming friends, and I'm curious to see how that might play out, you know, how this character sort of impacts the rest of the storyline, and what else we end up getting from Major there. Because at this point, it's just his job, so he was training, but I think we all know at some point there is going to be this big war. So he's going to start utilizing those skills at some point. It might not even be this season, it could be next season, but I feel like this training will ultimately lead to something for him. It won't just be like, oh, he's just doing it because he's getting paid. I feel like it's going to get utilized at some point. So that might not be for a while, but we got to see the first steps of it, so I'm excited about that. They might, who knows, they might end up doing like rescue missions where they go out and, you know, kind of recruit other zombies to join them at Fillmore Graves and stuff. That's probably how they do it, because zombies know each other. It's like, okay, this person's a new zombie. This is how we do things. If you want to join us, you can. You don't have to, but, you know, it can be dangerous for a zombie on their own, especially with humans getting way too close to the truth now. So we might get to see some more stuff like that. He's getting closer and closer to actually finding Natalie. He got a little bit of a clue from Blaine, but of course the person is on vacation, so we'll see how that plays out in the next couple episodes. But I think they did some great stuff with the character development, and I'm super excited to see where we go in this next episode and what they do with, you know, Major getting closer to the truth, which, like I said, I personally think that that'll probably be the episode after next, but I wouldn't hate it if we got closer to that answer, because that woman has been missing for like, I think she was missing for like the whole second half of the last season. So it's this crazy mystery where it's like he'll find her and help her, but now it's just like, man, who took her. You know, I feel like it's going to be a bigger reveal than I've been expecting, because I just thought he'll find her and it'll be good. But it's like, at this point, it's been so long. It's like, I feel like this has to do. I feel like it just has to be a big reveal at this point. So see what happens there. Of course, Donnie and Blaine's dad, who I don't think they even say his name in this episode. I think they show it when Blaine's like signing the thing for the will, but I didn't read it, so I don't remember his dad's actual name. But they start their official business. They go through all their different ways to prove someone's human or a zombie and stuff like that, and they come up with their name and how they're doing business and him buying the hospital. And I was like, all right, they're going kind of full force with this. So I'm excited to see how that changes things up for Blaine, and if he does get his memories back, if he truly lost them, how that affects him. And I'm super excited for that. And also, they're going to be doing a lot of what Blaine did, which was, oh, here's this rich person, scratch them, make them a zombie, check out our club. So there's just going to be more and more zombies, because they're going to try to have an even greater business than Blaine. So, you know, things are definitely about to change. But I'm really excited about this episode. I thought it was really good. Of course, I would love to know what you guys thought about it. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. I definitely want to know where you guys think things are headed as far as Blaine, and just Blaine in general, because, you know, he took the serum. We also have, you know, new competition coming into town, which was, this had nothing to do with the actual competition element, but the scene of Don E in the rain just looking at Blaine was so funny to me. I don't know why, but it was like when you see a comedy show where they have someone who's like super sad in the rain. It was kind of like that, but he was just disgusted more than anything, and it just made me laugh so much, because it was like, he's kind of sad, but not really any sort of sadness. And it just looked funny where he's just staring at him like, what in the world? He's singing at a, you know, he's playing the piano and singing at a lounge. But I would love to know where you guys think things are headed with Blaine having taken the cure, and where you think things are headed as far as him having this new competition, and what they're going to do as far as adding zombies to the series and just, you know, the overarching world. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.